before July 17, 1944, because the pier still exists in that picture. So what you're looking at right now, in front of you, is that pier. That's the pier that it will explode on July 17th. It was never completely torn down. It was never rebuilt. Okay, the pier next to it, pier number 2, will be its replacement. Okay. Pier number 2 is coming down actually this year because it's unsafe. Due to the delta, it's becoming very salty. Either global warming, our drought, and whatever's inside of the salt water. I have a sociology degree. I know nothing about nature, so please don't ask me about trees. Something's happening where it's taking out the wood. Okay, so the pylons in both piers are being damaged. So I honestly don't have a great answer for you of even how long those pylons that you're seeing are still going to be around.
Were those 2 ships, ammunition ships, on each side of these rows of pylons?
Yeah, this is that triangle. They'd have been a little bit further out, but yeah, they were.
Oh, they further out.
Yeah, a little bit further out. Yep. Okay. The pier itself is over 1,000.
And this is the triangle you see.
Yep.
Pylon.
Pylon. Yep.
Did you tell us what sparked the explosion?
Nope, I have not. Because we don't know. We don't have an answer. One of the theories, is that a bomb dropped. So to bring into the safety part of this, the pier itself, the one that is non-existent at the moment, is only 500 feet long, 70 feet wide. Very small. So for example, you have the mothball fleet out here towards Benicia. Those are either World War II ships, Korean War, Vietnam War, where the Navy had to store them and thought they would be able to use them again. They're large. A typical Victory ship is 455 feet long. So if you got a 455-foot ship and then a pier that's only 500 feet long and another 455-foot ship, let's add 19 rail cars to that also. So part of the safety was concerned was the fact that you had such everything was cramped. People were bumping into each other. There was no room. So 320 people were on that pier when it explodes. Right? Nobody dies in the town of Port Chicago. Nobody dies at the barracks that we pointed out. They all die on that pier. So that's 320 people. Right there.
Right there.
Right there, that pier.
So were the ships tied outboard of each other, next to each other?
Like an Oreo cookie.
Okay.
So the question was, how were the ships kind of laid out on that pier? The pier, if you can imagine it, you had the E.A. Bryan would be right in front of us, towards the water. The pier would be smack dab in the middle with the Quanalt Victory on the other side.
Oh,
so
like
the ships were like an Oreo cookie.
Either side of the
pier.
pier.
They were not tandem.
With the pier as the pier as the icing in between.
Yeah, as the mystery white stuff.
So there would have been a train track going up the middle.
So all those train tracks would have brought in the ammunition right up between the two of them so they can unload the rail and put it into the ships.
So the ships had their cranes.
They had cranes on the ship itself.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So wouldn't the speed of the lowering into the cargo hold, they'd have to slow down? You think that it might have been?
It could have, or one of the winches broke.
Yeah.
There's a lot of whining.
Drop the load.
Drop the load because it was too heavy or whatnot. Yep. Now the Coast Guard informs the Navy that it's incorrect. Right? You can't load 2 ships like that Oreo cookie. We already mentioned the width and the fact that it's cramped. Is that if one of those ships explode, you try to break an Oreo cookie in half, the other one's going to break. If you laid them side by side or like a tandemly, one would explode, not both. So for example, the E.A. Bryan, she is fully loaded, full of ammunition. She's going out that next morning. So when it blows up, it's 10 o'clock at night. She pushes the Quanalt Victory, that's on the outside, so towards Fairfield. That ship will be blown in half, flipped over, upside down, and the rudder will be facing San Francisco to your Wow, I just got your left. And then Sacramento when it was originally facing Sacramento. So to give you the how far that ship was pushed, it's where you are standing, halfway between us and that red buoy. That's how much power it had. But if it would have been side by side, one ship may have survived, in theory. Okay? But the Navy is fully aware of this. The Coast Guard told them.
You mean one in front of the other? You mean
Yeah.
the other way to do it?
Stacked, yeah. So when we leave here, you'll notice pier number 2 is double the length. We can't go all the way down to pier 3 where they're currently loading, but that's how they load it now. They're this way. Right. Or they're only loading one ship at a time.
All right.
Okay. The reason the Navy wants this spot, it's the Delta. Pearl Harbor happens in 41, right? World War II for the United States has started. They need the ammunition out to the Pacific as quickly as possible. So the Navy, we cut corners. We're sailors a little bit. So this location was a perfect site. It was already a port. So if you see these kind of fuzzy pylons there that don't match that V, that's a pier from the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that was from Coos Bay Lumber. They used to bring lumber onto the railroad. So it's already set up as a pier. They just had to build a new one. The channel, it's still used for the same thing. They have big container ships come in and out and go to those 2 cranes you can't take pictures of.